the host of the 7 p.m. Eastern Time hour on MSNBC, renowned as the race lady, probably the most insane person maybe to ever be on television. Just off the top of our heads, really quickly. No, I would not put Don Lemon above her. No, not Brian Stelter. I think Keith Olbermann could be in the running, but even with Keith Olbermann, I don't think he did as much crazy on TV, said as much ridiculous things as Joy Reid. Joy Reid said things like male white tears she loves. Watch and listen to this.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears. Really white tears in general, because that's what Karens are, right? They Karen out, and then as soon as they get caught, it's like, Green Waterworks. White men can get away with that too. And it has the same effect. Even as the right tries to politicize the idea that masculinity is being robbed from American men by multiculturalism and wokeism.
That's, of course, that was on TikTok. That wasn't on TV. 2 days. Give me one where she's from television saying this crazy stuff. Either that Trump is a fascist or Kamala ran a flawless campaign.
We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism, namely a far-right dictatorial regime like Hitler's Germany or Franco's Spain or Mussolini's Italy, but also white-ruled South Africa before Mandela and the black majority took control, or Vladimir Putin's Russia, Viktor Orban's Hungary, or Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela today.
That was pretty well done television. They had all those dudes' pictures up on a gigantic wall and scrolled across them. She's indicative of, there was a style of commentary where you had to race even further to the insanity. You had to become more hyperbolic. You had to embrace, causing fear. Think about the people that listen to MSNBC. And when I lived in New York, I knew a lot. I knew some people who said this. I really like Joy Reid. I'm like, are you kidding me? Think about the people that consumed that on a nightly basis. You were pumping pure insanity into the minds of what we know was a pretty small minority, actually. Ratings were terrible for Joy Reid. Ratings are terrible for MSNBC. There's not a single show on MSNBC, including $25 to $30 million paid Rachel Maddow in primetime, that outrates the Will Cain show. Not a single one. And they're all fractions. We're not even talking about it's a close race. They're not even fractions. So the audience is small. And by the way, it's old. People don't talk about that. They always say that when it comes to Fox. Oh, the demographic from Fox is old. The demographic for MSNBC is really old. I think we think of progressivism and this kind of wokeism as a young thing, but the people that watch that stuff on a night-in, night-out basis, they're old. But she was a source of constant fodder for people like me that have podcasts, that need something fun to laugh at, like the idea that Kamala Harris ran a flawless campaign.
This really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. Queen Latifah never endorses anyone. She came out and endorsed. She had every prominent celebrity voice. She had the Taylor Swift, she had the Swifties, she had the Beehive. You could not have run a better campaign in that short period of time. And I think that's still true.
I wonder if she believes that, because there is part of that that's an old mentality, like a 20-year-old mentality. Oh, you've got all the right celebrity endorsements, so it's a flawless campaign. When we're just well beyond that. No one cares about celebrity endorsements. They might even be a net drag on your favorability. Joy Reid is no more, and it's a sad, sad day for those of us who need something to laugh at. Now, the question is, what does that mean for MSNBC? If you'll remember, and these names may not be that familiar to you, but they should be. What was it? 2 years ago now? The president of CNN's name was Chris Licht. He was there for a short period of time. And he pivoted CNN away from their insanity. So this is when Brian Stelter was fired, when Don Lemon was fired, and ultimately Chris Cuomo was fired. And they started to pivot. But he basically had to deal with an internal mutiny inside of CNN that was completely anti-Trump, that ultimately cost him his job. And by the way, now Brian Stelter is back on CNN. Rebecca Cutler is the new head of MSNBC. And it doesn't just include Joy Reid. Do you guys in New York know, I think Jen Psaki is going to come out of this with a more prominent position, a primetime show.
I think it seems that way.
Yeah.
The people that are replacing Joy Reid, it's a panel show featuring Michael Steele, Simone Sanders, and who's the third person? Does anybody have that in front of them?
Alex
But
Wagner.
the point is,
she's
going to be on that panel?
No.
No, she lost her show, too.
Yep,
That's
yep.
another part of the shakeup.
Yep. We'll find
She lost her show. So the question is what does this mean for MSNBC? It isn't them pivoting away from far left insanity. While Michael Steele is no Joy Reid, he'll do a pedestrian job of upholding the demand for insanity among that audience. It's just not going to live up to Joy Reid standards. What it is, I think, is if you look across both those networks, is a pivoting away from people that are all risk, no reward. People that say things that get you sued for defamation, people that say things that honestly corrupt the public environment, and then people who, despite all of that, don't get ratings. What's the point in continuing to put Joy Reid on? Like, what's the upside? There is no upside. She was making $3 million a year. Apparently, that's what press reports are. She had to take a pay cut at some point. And, you know, it's good for Democrats that Joy Reid is no longer a primetime host on MSNBC. What's up, two-a-days?
So it says MSNBC plans to replace Reid in the 7 p.m. hour with a trio of hosts: former Kamala Harris advisor Simone Sanders Townsend, Michael Steele, and Alicia Menendez.
Oh, okay. Alicia Menendez is the
Daughter
third person.
of former New Jersey Senator
Bob.
Bob Menendez.
Yeah, Gold Bar Bob. Exactly. It's good for Democrats. On one hand, you see Jasmine Crockett rising up to be sort of the most prominent voice of Democrats right now, which is really good for Republicans. On the other hand, distancing from Joy Reid is really good for Democrats.